Well, what's our jokey lead-in?
What I'm going to do is I'm just going to give each person a breathalyzer, and we're going to have to blow into it before we start the show. Anyone
the
over
show
like
blows as it is.
Anyone over like a 2.5 doesn't get in.
2.5?
Yeah,
oh no, I would be dead. And this show would only be this show would only be you.
Yeah, sure.
Excuse me.
Jeff's totally a cheap date, though. All right.
We should start this one.
Okay, Welcome to Everyone Racers, a show designed for the world of low-dollar racing and oddball car culture. It doesn't matter what kind of Lemachamp or Lucky Track dog you run, SCCA or NASA, we won't discriminate. As long as you drive it hard and built it yourself. Join us each week for tech discussion, tips, tricks, news and notes in the world of low-dollar endurance racing, and whether it's on the spot, hella sweet, or we're lucky enough and Chrissy gives us just a tip, we're sure you'll giggle a little and learn even less. Everyone report to the paddock.
This is Chris.
This is Chrissy.
I'm Jeff.
There's Jeff.
And I'm mental.
And we are Everyone Racers. Thank you for coming back and listening to a Shakespearean episode of our podcast.
I'm very excited by this.
Oh, gosh. Were it aught to me, I bore the canopy. With my extern, the outward honoring, or laid great bases for eternity, I hath saith enough. Of course, that is where Sonnet 125.
You missed a few lines in the middle.
Sonnet 125. It's episode 125. I was not about to read all of this. I wasn't going to let you guys read all of it because we were going to bore anybody who does not care about Shakespeare. I have no idea what I just said with those words because it's gibberish. Anyway, if you're not driving a car, let's get your bingo card out because you may get a bingo this time. Even if you get a bingo, we won't help you or give you anything about it, but you can try anyway. Jeff, what you working on? I thought you were going to sneeze. That's why I was trying to hold off.
No, I went away from the microphone to give a sniff because I knew I'd have to talk. So I still have SARS, but I'm...
No way.
Dude, SARS is so 2017.
I know.
Really.
That's why I say it. It's a joke. But I am not on cough medicine, so I should pronounce all of the team names correctly today.
That's okay. You can do it anyway. It's hilarious.
So,
this is great. Scrappy R. Fugees.
And every time I hear Lauryn Hill now, I think Scrappy are the Fugees.
Yes. I have a saga. Chris just chided us to make what you're working on shorter, but I have a saga. The Tire Wife Saga. I was working late one evening on Thursday, and my wife blew a tire. She rubbed the sidewall and put a little tiny pinhole in it. And I had to work the next day, and then the next day we went to the Philadelphia Car Show, which we'll talk about. So my wife took care of her own tire. I couldn't get there. She called AAA. They changed it. She called Tire Rack and ordered the new tire. She went to Newark to pick it up without me. She took it to the local installer, who shall be known as Manny, Mo, and Fred, and got it mounted. And she looked at me halfway through this process and she says, if I can go to the tire rack without you, why do I need you?
Mow the lawn.
Then the second half of the saga happened. Manny from Manny, Mo, and Fred came out and said, we can't change your tire. Somebody cross-threaded all of the lug nuts. To which she said, that was AAA, and I know where their shop is. It was a dealership around here, Korean car dealership. So she took it to them, and she said, WTF, your boy changed these on the side of the road, and Manny says they're all screwed up. So they looked at it, and they said, we are very sorry. We will be back in a few minutes. And a few minutes later, they said, we will be changing 3 lugs, because they are destroyed and replacing all of your lug nuts on our dime. And they took care of it. So officially, I am useless until the grass grows, like Metal says.
Yeah, you're the stud that's getting replaced in that one, buddy.
Yeah, my wife went to multiple dealerships and got everything without having to go Jersey, and didn't cost her any money. So, hey, I'm now useless.
Oh, and it should be known that the lovely and talented Jen, no one wants to see her go full Jersey.
Oh, she loves going full Jersey. But
Hey, don't you clean the pool pretty well?
I do.
You can be the pool boy, because I'm sure she doesn't want to do that. She can do everything else. You can clean the pool.
He's not Hispanic, nor does he wear a thong.
Oh, one of those is incorrect. On Sunday, I posted on the Instagram, so I will mention it. I had 3 hours between a lazy Sunday morning wake up and heading to a funeral. So I got a lot of work done on my drill storage, posted it on Instagram on a What You Working On, and we'll talk about that later.
Woot.
Chris, what you working on?
Well, went to the car show, did some car shopping. Got the housework I've been doing upstairs finished, basically, which is wonderful. It's very nice now. Now moving on downstairs. Let's do some baseboards for the whole first floor. Yay.
Yay.
Are you going to paint them? Are you going to get pre-painted?
Pre-painted all the way.
Pre-painted. That's the way to go. I was going to suggest it.
Pre-painted all the way. Then I'm not getting paint on my nice floors and anything. And
it's very nice that you said you. That's good.
Yeah. Well, it's also like 100-something feet of, it's like 120 feet of baseboard. I don't want to paint that.
Whole first floor.
Yeah. I don't want to do that.
Good.
It's already comes painted and it's pretty much the same price. Like, sold.
Yeah. And they're made out of like melamine or whatever the hell, so you don't even have to like worry about coping the corners and painting the corners.
Yeah, don't care. Well, I have a good miter box, so I'll cut them right. Little caulk in the crevices and
yeah, little caulk.
Exactly. All it needs. Fill those crevices right up. Yep.
Yay.
Mental, what are you working on?
What are you working on other than putting a diaper in your dog?
Well, he's a rotten dog, and he has to wear one because he won't behave. So I went for an autocross on Sunday. It was actually really nice out at the Las Vegas Speedway, the very high-speed one. I spent a lot of time sideways. In fact, basically, it was about an averaging 50-second run, and I spent about 42 seconds of that sideways.
Those Michelins are $330 each on the back. Just want to remind you.
It's a 4,800-pound car. If you want it to turn, you're using the loud pedal. Did not hit a single cone. 8 runs, not one cone. One full spin, though. And
that counts as a cone, by the way.
Totally does not. In fact, if you do a full spin and you don't hit a cone, I say that's even better. And at the end of it, I was helping clean up. And, I came from a very small autocross club background, so I'm used to helping pick up cones. And a lot of these folks were leaving. A lot of them had to drive all the way back to Arizona. And so I go there, and a couple of the club principals were like, "Well, you looked like you were having fun." I did beat a couple of vets. And in secondary news, even though it's not car related, I've been attempting to out First World Chrissy when she talks about Jags and Mercedes. So 2 things. One, my hot tub stopped being hot. Now it's just a tub. So I've got a repair guy.
Oh, that's sad.
And I actually replaced a couple of components, and it's still not working. So I feel like the expert's going to come tell me it's a circuit board. And there is no 93 octane in Nevada. None.
91 only?
91 or 100, which is $7.92 a gallon.
Yeah, don't buy that.
Yeah, no.
What?
Well, at the elevation you're at, you're probably okay.
Well, and we talked about this. I did get the Phantom check engine light. So in my attempt to make sure that it wasn't it, I drove out to the one place that sells 100 octane, put 5 gallons in it, get into the car, start the engine, the check engine light goes off, and I just felt like it was, I just demand you do something special for me. For I am 6.
Is the 100 still unleaded?
Yeah. Well,
okay.
Yeah, it's not ethanol. No,
They
no, it's not ethanol. But
leaded.
they can sometimes they sell leaded. Usually 100 is leaded, and that's going to ruin your O2 sensors and maybe your cats. So be careful.
I didn't know they could sell leaded on the street. I thought they had to like reserve that for like racetracks and stuff.
Well, this pump might be for racing use
on
only.
The pump. It does. Yeah, the pump says this is race gas as you put it in there, but yeah, it doesn't.
Just be very careful with that. You might ruin a $5,000 worth of catalytic converters.
In which case, the car will immediately be registered as a classic because I don't have to emissions test a classic.
Great. All right.
Great.
Chrissy, what are you breaking or working on?
Not a damn thing. We went to the car show. We did some housework. That was great. And I'm not working on much, so I have not much to report on. No travel this week, but I'm back at it next week. So, yep.
Woo!
Let's do news and notes.
I was just reaching for the bullhorn.
You
but
do it next time.
I know. I have the first one, so I'll say it. So what has been called as the stupidest antitrust investigation in history is officially over. Do you know what it is? Quick backstory. No. The Trump administration rolled back the 2012 emissions and fuel economy standards. This was back last summer, and California didn't care and adopted the 2012 standard for all cars sold and driven in California. So that happened early in the summer, and then in July, Ford, Volkswagen, Honda, and BMW went to California and came with a deal to be slightly less strict standard, but they'll still be allowed in California, and that way they didn't have to build two different cars, like American and Californian. Mercedes joined in August. Well, in September, the White House was afraid that more companies would join, so they revoked California's authority to set emission standards because Republicans believe that the federal government should always dictate what states do, right? Well,
no, they don't like states' rights at all.
Yeah, they don't like state rights.
Yeah.
They also threatened several other manufacturers to do the same in White House meetings because they believe in free trade, I think. I'm not sure. Anyway, there were lawsuits between the state and the federal government, which flew back and forth. And then the Justice Department launched an antitrust investigation against those 5 car makers because they were making deals with the state of California. I'm not really sure exactly what. But on Friday, the Associated Press learned that the Justice Department didn't find any conduct violating the law and has closed the investigation. So California will continue to have different standards, and we may go back to a day where there's 2 kinds of cars, Californian and American.
Well, there still is right now. Except
half the states
has been
adopted. For years.
Yeah, half the states adopted California. Pretty much everybody in the Northeast and Oregon and Washington. Yeah. Anyway,
but they're all the same these days. It's just easy for everyone to just be like 50 state.
Okay.
Even though there's 2 standards.
Yeah.
They were close enough that they could just make 50 state cars. So who knows?
Yep.
But
oddly enough, though, I bet I could get 93 in California.
In the no, you can't.
Yeah, only 91 in
91. Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah. All right. Like I needed another reason to never live there.
Arizona, probably. You're good there. Utah's elevation's too high. Yeah. Oh well.
All right. Who else got a story?
I got one. Track Night in America. Full schedule is released.
Oh yeah.
137 events at 30 tracks this year.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
it is.
Huge.
Some track places we have locally, they have an event every month, like New Jersey, Pocono. Every single month, May through October, they've got an event. It's great. It's about $160. Get 3 20-minute sessions, low stress, no instructors, but advanced can ride with novice and vice versa. So bring a friend, make a friend, go have some low-key track time. You only have to take a half day, one evening off. That's all.
We do get a lot of emails or people come up to us at various automotive events. Like, hey, I'm not quite ready for wheel-to-wheel racing. How do I get involved in this? That, everything he just said, and this is exactly why the SCCA created it. Go and, even if you're not going to go on the track, just go there and hang out and make some gearhead buddies.
And you can't bring race cars. Like I can't bring the Civic, for example, unless I was trying to get a friend who had never been on track into it, and then I tell them that, and it goes a novice, and then they're okay with it, but you got to talk to them. But otherwise, the caged, gutted Godzilla, not allowed. But
yes,
but like
because it's too intimidating,
right? But Chrissy's mom's Mazda 5, hell yeah, bring it.
Hell yes.
Suburban,
empty.
Yeah.
Oh no.
I don't think Suburban. No.
No.
Volvo 240 wagon.
Yes.
Totally.
Oh yeah.
If it's running.
Yeah. I brought the Mercedes to a track night up at Pocono. Hit 140. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Chrissy,
Okay.
you have something.
I do. The Taycan comes in pink,
Taycan.
beautifully called Frozen Berry.
Taycan Sam. No.
So there was a Jalopnik article, and it came out and said that there are 17 other colors. But why would you get anything else other than this lovely rose gold color instead of the many other boring colors they come in. I'm looking at you, Jeff.
Rose gold, that's hot.
Boring silver, like you have. So
No, I have gray.
Okay.
That's better.
No, it's the same
'cause it's
thing.
dark gray. No, silver is
You
light.
have dirt. That's your color.
Oh no, mine was dirt. His was silver gray. Anyway, it's beautiful. I want one. Yes, mental.
I think that's what we're going to refer to your color of your text whenever we do the show notes.
Sure.
Is frozen berry.
Frozen berry.
berry.
That sounds nice.
That sounds like a dessert, frozen berry.
Or a beautiful car.
Yeah.
Okay, it's race
Awesome.
time.
So, upcoming races, we're back to race season. Champ Car's back on the West Coast. Sonoma, this weekend is their 2020 National Championship. It's a 7-7 format, test day Friday. Here's how you know it's a West Coast event. There are 33 cars signed up at recording time.
Wow.
They just don't have a foothold out there. Thanks, John Condren. 8 BMWs, which are so boring.
All right.
11 Miatas, 1 Honda,
It's all right.
1 Porsche, and a Volkswagen Scirocco. So that'll break promptly. So really 32 cars. And, yeah.
You missed the other way to tell it's a West Coast event.
Oh, the 96 decibel sound level, yes. I mean, it's not the draconian 91 from Laguna, but still. I don't know, 96 isn't that bad. I think some of the East Coast ones have things around there.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
I know.
right.
At the Honda, we were running a 99 at Thompson, and they said, you should quiet that down for next time. So,
How many decibels is this? Recent events.
I have to turn it off before I actually talk again. So this weekend, Champ Car was at Road Atlanta for a 14-hour enduro, and it snowed like a mofo. Haven't we been there?
yeah.
Yeah.
You know how you can tell when it snows in Atlanta? 'Cause it's a race weekend.
Race weekend.
That's how.
85 cars, 2.2 mile skating rink. We reached out to Bill Strong, and he gave us the lowdown. There was a 4-hour delay due to 2 to 4 inches of snow on the track. They had to wait until it stopped. Then the temp had to come up above freezing. They took out some vehicles to break up the snow to slush for about an hour. Track ran 3 jet dryers to try and blow the slush off. Then about 7 p.m. fog rolled in, so it was almost freezing fog. They said it was just a total wreck. They did race on Sunday, got most of the race in on Sunday.
No, that was Saturday. It was all one day.
Oh, it was all one day?
Yeah.
14-hour enduro.
Oh, they lost 4 hours of the 14-hour enduro. Ooh. They told drivers at 7:20 that they would stop the race at 8 p.m. This is under advisement of the track, so the corner workers were having a hard time seeing the cars, so they knew it was a safety issue. Go to the Facebook page, Champ Car Endurance Series. Check out the pictures. It's frightening.
Yeah, the
and
pictures are
I've
wild.
been there.
Yeah.
I love the little snowmen on the Armco that they were making.
Yeah.
It fell fast.
And even
And
when
I
we
think-
were there, we never had that much snow on the
No.
race surface, not even
Yeah.
close. So some reports we got from the teams there, the visibility was actually less than 20 feet on track, so that's not frightening at all. Bill kept going. He said at 7:40 they had a car go off way into turn 10A, and per the track, that's an impact zone, so they had to go full course yellow, which they were probably already going full course yellow speed at that time, let's be honest. So they said, well, you know what? It's 7:40. By the time we get that car out, it's going to be 8 o'clock. So they called the race on the next yellow flag cross of the finish line. Bill said they tried everything to make the race continue, but have to balance it with safety, and safety won. And, it's snowing and you're on a Zenith. It's not going to go well, right? So Bill said all the cars across the finish line at the end get a $200 race credit added to their account. 56 teams braved it till the checker. Good for you.
That's awesome. I think the scariest part wasn't really, well, I mean, the fog is terrible, but you couldn't tell where the track started and where the grass ended.
Yeah.
And that's when it just becomes, that is the most basic visual information that you need. And it just wasn't there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bill said that I drove the track to collect the cameras after the flag flew. I could only see about 20 yards at the top of the course. It was way worse than the valley that the race control is in. We also have a short in-car video from Trevor showing the visibility and traction, link in our show notes. He was driving with Tyler Hoffman, who, like the bad conditions, picked up 20 spots in 20 minutes, and then both cars were taken out by the same E30 on the same lap. You know, because BMW.
Schadenfreude.
Yeah.
Oh.
Of those 56 cars that finished, the first place was Parts Badger in a 91 Miata. And then on their Instagram, they posted more snow as they drove all the way back up north. Second overall and first in class was Black Saab Rules from rbankracing.com. Third overall and first in C class went to Crowd Control Racing in a wonderfully named 95 Ford Mustang SVT Cobra. And they also had the fastest lap of the day with a 141.8, which in the dry is impressive. And the fact that track never got completely dry. Wow.
I thought they had a couple hours of dry before it started coming down.
It's a relative concept of dry, but yeah. And then our buddies the Hongers brought the Supra, thanks for asking, across in 8th overall, second in class.
So AER is at Road Atlanta this coming weekend, and hopefully with some better weather and apparently a little sense of humor, which is funny because the person who said this has no sense of humor. John posted on AER Facebook page the first 15 teams that respond to this picture with your race car covered in snow at Road Atlanta today will get the race with AER at Road Atlanta next weekend. Which is this weekend, for free. Anyone else who responds will get 50% off. So it's forecast to be clear on Saturday with after a week of rain. It started again on Sunday. So if you don't go off, you might never get unstuck. So this is exactly why John is saying that you could come race with them, because there are a total 47 cars. Wow. 23 are still BMW. Still boring. 5 Miatas, 1 lone S2000, 4 Porsches, and a Caddy CTSV. But wait, Hong Nor is scheduled to run their K24 powered grumpy butt car. It's a Supra. Thanks for asking.
Yeah, I think John tries to keep his car counts a little lower. So probably if he takes 20 cars on top of that 47, that's probably the biggest car count he's going to have all year.
Probably.
Yep.
They're like Lucky Dog. I don't think they like big fields.
Yeah, no, they don't like big fields at all.
They're
Speaking of
good to 50 cars a mile, I think is their standard, and Road Atlanta is 2.2 miles long, so they got some elbow room. There's some headroom.
Yeah, but they never would go to 100 cars.
I think he would take the money if he got it, if he kept it under that 50 cars a mile. You know, he's got to pay for the races where the people where 17 cars show up.
Yeah, I guess. Speaking of snow, rally correspondent Santiago got us some highlights from the Snowdrift 2020. Temps were in the high 20s and low 30s. About a 60-degree swing from the insane cold last year. Lots of overconfident Subarus parking their cars. Yes, thank you. Lots of overconfident Subarus.
Boring.
Thank you. Parking their cars on top of the snowbanks. Santiago was battling a Mark II GTI of Check Engine Light Racing, which is a great name for a Volkswagen. They were back and forth within 5 seconds the first 2 days. A Lancer was winning until they blew up the alternator because Mitsubishi. They ran all night with their lights turned off to try and save the battery.
Because Mitsubishi
Sure, that didn't slow them down at all. As a result, Santiago was the fastest two-wheel drive car in the snow and ice once again. 40 cars were at the rally, 20 Subarus.
Boring.
6 Fords, 3 Volkswagens, 3 BMWs, not boring. Rally, 3 Hondas, including Chrissy. Ready for this? 2019 Passport.
Yeah, remember we saw it at SEMA.
Yeah.
Well, it was still dirty even.
We took a picture of it and sent it to Santiago. An Eagle Talon and a Chevy Aveo, because nothing says "Hoon Me Through the Woods" like a Chevy Aveo.
I don't know. That might be the most fun you could have in a Chevy Aveo.
Yeah, well, it's a rental car.
Rented car.
Yeah. And world's best off-road vehicle. Done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. No, next rally is the 100-acre woods outside of St. Louis, Missouri. 90 cars on the entry list and another 17 or so on the wait list. March 20th and 21st. Check the internet to find out more. Listener feedback. Who's got something?
So just prior to recording last week's episode, Chrissy found a great post from Ross Bentley about getting uncomfortable being, or excuse me, it's really getting comfortable being uncomfortable. That's where we go. The graphic's still on our Instagram. You just need to go back a little bit. So Dan G said, that's such a great way to describe it. Things get sketchier as I get faster, but I'm more okay with it as time goes on. If I'm not feeling sketchy, I know I'm too slow. There you go. Dr. Florida Man Donnie quoted his spirit animal. You have to be closer to the edge than ever to win. That was Big E saying that. What's it? Raise hell, praise Dale, something like that.
Burn down Applebee's.
Burn down Applebee's. There you go.
I don't understand the anti-Applebee's aggro, but go on.
Have you ever been to an Applebee's?
I have. I just don't care.
This is egregious, I tell you. Egregious!
Yeah. Bill F. and crew said, we can see faster from here, but it's still pretty far away. So, yeah, that's about right. Patrick W. pointed out when the, quote, out of control becomes the norm, that's when you know you're there, adding, if they ain't squealing, you ain't wheeling.
Oh, is that Wilmot?
Yes, absolutely.
All right, there you go.
More residual comments from our Instagram story about the retreat from Moscow rally at the finish line. Chew Big Red, one of the places, thanked us. They said, thanks for saying hi and pointing us to some awesome content for our two-day drive home to Maine.
Oh,
and then,
welcome new listeners.
Yeah.
Yep. And then Dan B., he also, like the rest of us, loved the Duke Arrives Cadillac. Quote, Snake Plissken and the Duke of New York, no way, classic ride.
So we
Well
had
done.
so much content out there on all of our platforms on what we found at the Philly Auto Show. So thank you for watching our videos and commenting on our pictures. It's just a few shout outs to Chris S., who said Jeff has a face for radio and he wanted some more
Yes, he
pictures of CNC. And there was a good banter going on with Eric K., Nick H., Tom M., and Mark L. with a good discussion about the Civic Si. Some people had them and were saying all good things about why Jeff should get one. And like Jeff was saying, there was lots of people working on stuff with Jeff and his shelf. So there was cars and there was all kinds of other fun random things. So keep up the banter. We love hearing from you.
Finally, our Instagram featured a picture of an ancient issue of Popular Science that suggested you dig a post hole in your yard, fill it with gravel, and then use this hole to dispose of your used engine oil. Okay, then. I think the greenies may have something against that. So Drew Payne Think said, that's bad. Look up the wiki page for Times Beach, Missouri. I didn't look it up.
It's interesting and depressing. Yeah.
Well, let's just skip that then. Everybody else go look it up. Vicky Fisher explained at Bill's grandparents' house, the neighbor disposed of the oil in the garden. And he grew the biggest eggplants and zucchinis and tomatoes you will ever see. And it didn't affect Bill in any way, except that he decided to become a ceramist and race crappy cars. So clearly he has lost brain function.
No,
So,
it's either it's all the MEK he's huffing.
Yeah, probably. Speaking of MEK, California Bob and Lori, I'm going to assume that's how they say Bob and Lori. Of course, they said, I had some interesting training when it was at AMP school in the late 80s and early 90s. The instructor would have us dump old fuel or solvents, whatever, all over the pavement and say, don't worry, kids, it'll evaporate before it gets washed down the storm drain. And in old wartime videos, in particular, a guy was washing some parts in MEK, which is exactly what we're talking about, which is methyl ethyl ketone, a solvent. It's like clean strip is probably the closest thing. So they would wash some parts in MEK, which I believe is jar 2. If you're at Bill's,
I think
It was labeled MEK.
yeah,
Oh, was
but
it?
it's not as
Yeah.
bad as. But 3
Number
is
four.
getting
Never
really
seen
serious.
3.
But then 4 is like we really try not to use this if we can help it.
well, anyway. So they used to wash parts in MEK with no gloves, smoking a cigarette, and with the stuff all running down their fingers and soaking into the cigarette. He says MEK is so safe you can even smoke it.
Don't
I
do any of
think-
this, listeners. Don't do any of these things. Don't
I
pour
think-
oil down post holes. Don't smoke MEK.
I think Bill and Company would have a different opinion on that.
And I can already feel my fingers shriveling up every time you had to touch anything that were in the unlabeled jars that Bill brought. Lastly, Corey D listened last week and said, driving automatics is not boring. Robot arms flailing. You just signed up to drive 2 GM vehicles with the TH350s in them, right? It's mental. Looking forward to Willow Springs. That purple Camaro at Barber was exhausting. Per the words of Matt, power steering is underrated. And I will say,
it's not underrated.
True. There you go.
Great transition.
It's my mother. Hi, Mom, who is babysitting the baby, and so she is just babysitting the baby. Anyway, and she said to me earlier, make sure that you say hi to Mental and happy birthday. So there you go.
Thank you, Chrissy's
Happy
mom.
birthday, Mental.
Happy birthday, Mental.
Yay.
Yay.
Fantastic. Main topic time. Are you going to start this, Mental? I don't want to steal this.
Go
ahead.
All right. So, Chris and Jeff attended the still open, if you're listening to this podcast, but only very close to the release date, Philadelphia Auto Show. But they got to get in early, as we are now respected automotive media.
You're funny.
Respected. Don't think.
So they got there on media day, and Chrissy and Jeff got to lick all of the cars first.
Didn't lick any cars. I still have SARS.
But they had to move quickly because they only had like a half a day. But
You could have been
honestly,
Typhoid Jeff at the car show. Man.
He was.
Patient 1, patient 0, right?
So for years we were doing kind of this episode. We'd have Brian, and we need to get Brian back on the show.
Yeah.
But we would have Brian after the Atlanta Automotive Show, which is actually next weekend, and I'm not going to make it. And it was always you guys talking to me about the cool stuff I saw. What was the cool stuff you guys got to see at the Philly show? Jeff?
Sure. So I'm going to start this by saying that we thought the Philly show was a little small and didn't have all of the makes we were looking for. But I kind of and I'm not a supercar guy, but their little supercar section was pretty fantastic. It didn't have a lot of stuff, but it had an XJ220, a Jag XJ220. And you just I never see them ever. They never come up for sale. They're not hanging around. Nobody's driving them. You could sneeze and hit a Lamborghini 10 times, at a supercar day and never see an XJ220. They had an F40. I mean, when you bring an F40, which is probably one of the most rarest supercars out there, and you park it next to an XJ220, you're like, hey, I thought I was going to be rare today. Yeah. So
they made 282 XJ220s, but my favorite fun fact about that is the test development mule for the drivetrain on that was a Ford Transit van. So, and Top Gear has the old, has some video of them just running that, testing it. So if you see a Ford Transit van with XJ220 wheels, it's because it is an XJ220. It has 700 horsepower and it's bonkers.
I remember the original Road and Track review of that, and they said this is a car that you could put plates on that could take pole at Indy 500 since the Indy 500's inception.
Yep. Yeah. That's a crazy car. They also had a Lamborghini Miura am I saying that right?
Miura.
Yeah. Miura.
JK's favorite Lamborghini.
Yeah, in the classic car section. So that wasn't even the supercar section. And they're just drop dead sexy and rare. And it was a freaking cool color.
And when they get half a tank, half a tank of gas, they become death traps.
Yeah, it was like a highlighter yellowish. It was awesome.
Oh, 70s supercars. Oh, God, yes.
Taycan was cool too, but we'll talk about that later. Chris, what'd you like?
I liked the empty space. I liked wandering around the car show by ourselves, basically. There were more people setting up for the black tie tailgate dinner that night than there were people looking at cars. Mental.
So I read empty space, and I thought that was a snarky comment on the Philly show. You went a completely different direction with that. That's awesome.
It was wonderful being at a car show and not being not being able to touch the Civic Type R because there's a line of 12-year-olds going to sit in it. And the lady sitting in the one car you want to sit at talking to her husband for 20 minutes. just everything being broken, everything just being hot and gross. It's the only way to fly.
No toddlers in the driver's seat shifting the gears.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like that was like always. I was always like, I would like to sit in this now, but there's some parentless toddler in the driver's seat, and I can't get in. Like that's like probably the number one reason I hate car shows.
Yeah,
Parentless.
it's the people. Then there were lots of nice stuff. Like the new Aston Martins are very pretty, of course. The new Land Rover Defender was neat to see that really just got released, and it's fun to hear them talk about how tough they think it is because it has
my goodness,
it has exposed bolt heads and it has areas of unfinished metal. I mean, it was pretty cool, but I was a little like, really, come on,
They said the
truly,
word tough like 27
we
times.
needed a ding. We needed
in 3 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just look at the door
it's
panels
so
that have
stupid.
the door panels are all Torx bolts to hold the door panels on. I see 27 Torx bolts that I have to take the door panel off and say, that's a pain. Right?
Who's the
and this is a
asshole
man-
who came up with that?
And this is a man who voluntarily took the headliner out of his Defender to fix the sunroof.
Yeah, well, then I refinished the headliner too, because that was also falling down. Normal. These are Land Rover problems, not a big deal. The parts falling off this car are of the finest British manufacturer. We went on Camp Jeep, the ride thing, and it was fun only because we had no line. It's like a 1 minute of riding around the Jeep. That's fun. But the line's usually there is at least half an hour or an hour long minimum to do that. So not worth it. And Jeff is totally
we'll be
right.
posting that video.
Yeah, Jeff is totally right about the Miura XG220 and F40. Those are cool.
They were cool. That was about the
Chrissy?
most crowd that we've seen most of the day because we were kind of traveling around with a lot of the other people, but the supercar unveiling was
The other
when we
respected journalist.
Yep.
Yeah, yes,
All
different kinds
40 of them.
and we tried to categorize them what kind of journalists they were. It was kind of fun.
Some of them
Anyway.
was quite obvious.
Yes. So I enjoyed sitting in the trunks to measure which one was biggest. I had a good time with that. I'm glad we played
See
that
that
game.
see that on our Instagram. That one's
We
hilarious.
will post that up. We will post all of them up.
But
Yeah,
the long roof for life when it's not long or roof, that one got a lot of response.
No, it was sad. I enjoyed the Camp Jeep ride. That was fun. We got in a good Jeep, so I think that helped a lot. That we were in not the Compass that spun wheels and it seemed like it was gonna
Barely could get up
tip
the hills.
over. Yeah, it was kind of scary. And the Type R was beautiful. Watch the video if you haven't already. It was a lovely color, which I enjoyed. So yeah, it was plenty fun.
All right, and I've got a transition here, but I call that color Battleship Gray, and you guys were having an argument about blue green. What's Honda's official name for that color? Because I'm not going to disagree with you.
I
It is
saw
a
this.
great color.
I was online on my Honda website making the.
All right, before Jeff gives me the official answer, Chrissy, what color would you call it?
It was not gray.
It
was blue. It was blue green chameleon-ish. I think it was blue, but it was not gray.
It's the gray, but it has a metallic pearlescent in. So in the light, you see the blues and the greens and stuff. If it's flat, you'd look at it as gray, I think. So
Very interesting. All right, Jeff, what's the official
I am
name?
almost there. Hold on, man. I had to go there.
Okay.
Hold on a second.
This is the worst radio ever.
Sorry,
People
someone else
hate
say
dead
something.
air.
I'll say this.
keep
This is dead
going.
air.
Keep going.
So, now, Chris, you mentioned that they were talking about how the Defender is tough. Now, all four of us on this podcast, we have very, I would say, educated and experienced positions on what truly makes a Land Rover Defender tough. Hurricane Sandy through the Appalachians at 80 miles an hour with a heated seat and a newly acquired sample CD. I would say that's what makes a Defender tough.
Well, that's a Discovery, but
I'm sorry, the
close
disco.
enough. The
Right.
Civic is called Sonic Gray Pearl.
Thank
That's
you.
what we saw too. They also have a
so-
polished metal metallic, which is a little more gray. This is the lighter of the grayish one, Sonic Gray Pearl. The pearl is what you see.
and that's where
must have been the
blue
light.
is coming from. No,
It was a
pearl by
bluish. It was
definition.
absolutely a bluish gray, not a green. I didn't think it was a greenish gray.
All right, so I need a new monitor, is what I'm hearing.
No.
I can see it on my
photos did not do it justice.
Yeah.
All right.
The funky lights. I'm using my phone. It
Okay.
wasn't like a true camera.
No, sorry. But we're talking about tough vehicles.
Oh, sorry.
Talk to it's a good transition. Talk to me about the trucks. Tell me what bird. I mean, we're not truck people, except in the sense of all of us need to tow crap all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris, why don't you start this one?
Well, I looked at a few of them because I've heard lots of good things about the Dodge. Apparently, as being pretty fantastic. But then the GM was new, and we're all have historically been GM tow pig fans. First thing,
True.
They're all too expensive. Like, it's hard to not
It's
spend.
amazing.
Yeah, it's hard to not
What
spend
a
$60,000 on a half-ton pick-em-up truck. Although they all get big discounts, right? It's like a department store with these things now. Stuff's always on sale, so you don't know what the real price actually is until you go through all the hassle of going through the motions. So sometimes you just expect there's $10,000 on the hood. Well, why don't you just price it $10,000 less and make it a reasonable price? Like right now I don't know how much they really cost. I know what it says on the sticker. I know you get a discount off that, but $62,000 for these things? You got to be kidding me. But
Sticker price is sucker price.
yeah. Still, though, why not at least make it closer? If you're not going to ever, even, yes, I understand that's not really MSRP because the dealers have a discount too, but even if the manufacturer always is putting rebates on the truck, like that never stop, just lower the price.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
The big Dodge dealer out here, Tobin Dodge, known for having a reality show a number of years ago called The Choppa.
I like that one.
Tobin Dodge is now advertising Dodge Rams for 50% off MSRP.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, having worked at a dealer.
Sure.
Next thing.
There's one of them, but it just got sold.
Although the Dodge's interior is clearly superior to the new GM interior, without a doubt.
I will give you that. Those giant touchscreens are amazing.
Even without that, just the quality of the materials, just touching stuff. You get the nice soft touch materials on the Dodge with better stitching. You get you don't have the panel gaps. You don't have the unfinished edges sticking up. Just it's every material seems to be of a higher quality in similar price. Half-ton Ram and half-ton Chevy, both are just redesigned. So that was really, really notable. Also, short beds are completely useless. Like a fish with a bicycle, basically, for doing truck things. Like, if you use it as a sedan and you put a topper over it and you put a carpet bed liner in the back, sure, it's a big trunk. But if you ever want to do any truck things, those 5-foot beds, they're terrible. I don't see what you possibly could do with them. And, who knows? Stuff's going to be in the back anyway. You also can't work on most of them without a ladder or this thing. If you saw at SEMA, was so cool. You stood up a couple steps and then there was like a kind of a creeper bed in front of you. You lay on that and then there was a handle you'd pull and it would basically give you a platform to lie on above the engine so that you could work on these stupid things.
Without scratching the fenders.
Yeah.
So can I interject here and just say that I'm gonna not tell you you're wrong. I'm gonna disagree with you, but it's an opinion here.
Okay.
About the short bed. I think the big trucks, the half tons, are way too big. I loved the Ranger. I love the Defender because I think they are right-sized trucks for the millions of people who are not actually plumbers and carpenters.
Plumbers and carpenters aren't buying that stuff. They're buying long bed Dodge work trucks.
That's what I'm saying.
Or they're getting ProMasters and Transits.
Yeah, but I'm saying like the
GMWTs.
My penis truck isn't a real truck unless it can get a full sheet of plywood. 99% of the time, people don't need the full sheet of plywood. They can just angle it for the one time a year. They actually have to pick up a sheet.
I'm not advocating for 8-foot beds and everything. Those are, but like the 6.5 foot. Then at least like.
Oh, okay.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
It's like the 5-foot ones that. Like, what are you even doing? You can't even. You can barely fit a bicycle in it. You can't put a motorcycle in it. Really, you can't sleep in it.
But you're assuming that people buy trucks to do truck things.
Yes.
What I'm saying is 99% of the people who are buying trucks out there, they're just station wagons with backs that are open. And
totally
they should go
they should buy a wagon.
They should buy a Ranger or a Taco. They should just stay out of the big trucks and leave them for us who need them to buy. No. Keep buying them. Keep driving them while you never tow anything, and sell them to me 5, 6, 7, 10 years later without a scratch on the trailer hitch. That's the way to go. I like the Disco because I thought it was a reasonable size SUV.
The Defender,
Whatever that
absolutely.
thing the Defender, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that thing that Chrissy was sitting in. Oh, the interior in that one.
The Velar.
Oh, the
Oh,
Velar. Yeah, I talked about
for
this later.
taking Skylar and Dakota to.
I'm going to need a minute by myself because I'm thinking about the dash pad on the Velar. So y'all talk amongst yourselves.
All right, I'm gonna say one thing, and I'm gonna ask Chrissy, who's been quiet and patient during this whole thing. My $500 '78 Toyota Hilux with the bed down will take a sheet of plywood.
Nice.
Chrissy, you're not a truck person.
No, I said I got nothing. They're useful. I'm not interested. I like my old ass Suburban with Apple CarPlay. It's wonderful. Now that I have to drive it all the time, I drove it today. It's wonderful. We're not interested in new ones. So I found myself doing other things.
Not even the
looking at
Velar.
That's not a truck.
Velar.
If you put a piece of plywood in the back of a Velar, Jeff, I will fly to New Jersey and hurt you.
No. Yeah,
It wouldn't
I mean,
be
we
a
only
very big piece of plywood. It'd be off like the off-cut rack where you pay, 80% of the price of a full sheet to get one of those third sheets because that's all you're going to fit in your car.
The
and
3.5
do a
by
project.
2.5.
It better be of the finest oak and already finished.
no splinters.
But that does actually transition lovely to the ongoing saga of your hunt for your next daily, because some idiot redneck in Nevada is hooning your Mercedes as we speak. So you
It likes
genuinely,
to be hooned.
It does. It loves to be. It is so German because it loves to be naughty. Anyway, but you guys were actually genuinely both looking for our listeners and yourselves, because we've had this ongoing discussion of what's next. So we'll get Jeff out of the way because he's not ever going to buy a new car. But I do want to talk about what you guys are replacing and what are your needs.
So we're going to say Mazda 3 a couple of times here because Chrissy and I are both replacing Mazda 3s, but we both have drastically different needs and desires for our next car.
I got behind a new Mazda 3 hatch in one of those flat, dark green colors, and it was friggin' gorgeous.
It is too small. But go ahead.
So
It is.
So I need to eventually replace my 8-year-old 168,000 mile Mazda 3 long roof, and I'm like feeling agita in my belly because I have no idea what to replace it with for two reasons. One, the Mazda 3 has not really improved and there's no performance version, and I want more power.
Baby.
Well, power,
power,
baby.
That's
right.
right, baby.
And it's kind of the same. And I drove a Protege 5 for 225,000 miles, and now I got this one approaching. After like 20 years and 400,000 miles, I'm allowed to want something different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I still need the hatch. I want more power. Back seat space probably isn't as important as it was because my son's old enough to sit in the front now. So, and the two most obvious things that I was planning to replace it with someday have both left the market. So, I could say it. The Ford ST, the Focus ST was on my short list, and a WRX wagon was the things I always thought I would get next. And they're both gone. So I'm kind of wandering around going, well, well, I've got only 2 years and 40,000 miles to put on this thing. What am I going to replace it with? So the two things I really looked at was the Civic, both the Type R and the Sport, and the Veloster N. And
Rotor Track's Performance Car of the Year.
I got a meh on both of them. And it's not because they're not great cars. I'm not sure. There's no Goldilocks in here. I think the Veloster N and the Civic Type R is too much car for my daily. You know what I mean? I don't need that much frantic race car. I need something a little bit more sedate. And I think that is the first time I've ever heard you use those words in that combination. No, it's true. I put a ton of miles.
I need something calmer.
No, it's not.
I'm gonna need you to settle.
Hey, but you know what, Mental? Don't you enjoy getting in the Mercedes the end of the day? Everything's in comfort mode sometimes, and just kind of chilling.
Yeah, I don't want my guts beat out.
It's easy. It works.
I don't want something that needs summer tires and super unleaded to just go back and forth to work. You know what I mean? I need
I'll give you that.
I need 200, 225, 250 horsepower, not 300, 350, 400. I don't need 500. I don't need.
I want to know then why does the new Mazda 3 not meet those needs?
Because it's meh.
It's smaller and it's got 160 horsepower.
It doesn't do anything better than both of ours.
Exactly.
The interior quality is much nicer, though. The interior quality of the Mazda 3 really is excellent.
Interior quality is so low on my list of needs.
I think exterior quality is a much prettier car, and they did actually put millions of dollars into researching the suspension so it isn't as jarring. In fact, they got criticized for kind of backdating their suspension to make it less tech so that it absorbed more bumps and just wasn't as performance oriented. But I digress.
My Protege 5 was more fun to drive than my Mazda 3. It was more tossable. It was lighter. It was
fair.
My Mazda 3 is funner than your Mazda 3.
Well, yes, but you also have a much rougher ride in all of the NVH.
Yes,
we took some of the NVH out by replacing that motor mount, but anyway.
Yeah, so
and we do care, Jeff, but really there's only one person on our screen right now who's buying a new car.
Well, and this is really what I'm saying. I don't think there is anything out there that's new that is going to beat a 2-year-old Focus ST when I go shopping.
Counterpoint. Chrissy, what's going to beat a Focus ST when you go shopping?
Well, no, for me, I understand that this is opinion.
Jeff, stop talking. It's Chrissy's turn.
Are you sure? Is it time now that I can talk? Oh, good. Both of you are kind of out of line today, I have to say. Both of you are out of line. Okay, so we haven't had a full actual discussion about what I need to replace my Mazda 3 with. We've kind of glossed over it on Facebook and whatever, but we didn't talk about it. So we've been really working hard to figure it out, and I've been having the same agita that Jeff is having.
You and Chris?
Me and Chris, yes.
Okay, all right.
Yes, but a lot of it is kind of my decision. But I have been kind of trying to figure out what it was and back and forth and kind of concerned that I don't know what I'm going to replace mine with because we've got some more miles, but eventually soon need to figure out what it is. And dun dun dun, dun we've decided.
Okay,
hang on.
Before you let any cats out of the bag.
Grab the bullhorn, Jeff.
No. Before we let any cats out of the bag, please give us your requirements.
Do you read the notes?
I do it.
Oh, gosh.
This is called a setup.
We're going to have this discussion later. Let's talk about what I want. Okay. So, my first... What? Go.
No, go. You did it right. Go.
I'm scared of you. What are we looking for? So, the trunk... Stop it. The trunk space. It has to be large enough to fit a lot of big things or a lot of little things. So I keep talking about my engine hoist. I put a sign in there. We've done Trek 10 tires, a bunch of these things. And it has to be also comfy for long drives. I want it to be sporty. I want it to be sporty enough to almost rival my Coney's and iBox Springs that I'm running now. And it must look good, noting that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. So whatever I think looks good may not what you think looks good, but I want to turn around and look at it and say, that car looks so good, for which I still do to my 2007 Mazda. So I still love to lust over the Type R, but I think we can't drive one, we can't buy one at an MSRP, so I think it's just out. It's nice to think about, but it's just not for us. And as we were talking about, the 3 has been out because of the lack of the trunk.
I just wanted to say that if you can't buy it for sticker, because we already said stickers are the sucker prices, who are the suckers paying over sticker?
You
Price
can
boys.
buy them for sticker. It's just you get being able to drive one and then buy one for sticker. It's getting harder. Yeah, lame.
Mental.
If you could buy a Type R for sticker, would it be in the running?
Not really. No, and as we talked about on the video, it would be fine if we were replacing the Mazda and the Mercedes, and we still needed a fun, sporty car, but also a wagon to take on long trips. If we were doing both of them, then probably. But since it's going to replace it and be one car, I think it is really not the most practical car for us.
It doesn't have that drive all day comfort that we so got to appreciate with the Mercedes and that we still want to have.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I don't want to go to work and I don't want to go home because I just don't want to get out of the car.
Yeah.
Yep. So previously we had decided between the Jag XF Sport Brake and a Merc wagon.
Jag.
And since at the car show, the Jag brought an XE, which is barely comparable, but we got in there and Merc wasn't there. So I'm going to say harumph. But I will tell you more about what we've decided and how we got there later.
Okay, well, that is tantalizing. Chris, you've been commenting. Do you have anything additional on this subject?
This is all Chris.
All right. Well, then, let's get Jeff out of the way because that'll take 2 hours. We'll start with Jeff. What did you find at the show, and you've hinted at this, that helped or absolutely didn't help?
Well, I should say that I guess the Civic Sport did enter the realm of possibilities. I thought the trunk basically what I need is an SI hatch, but they don't make that. So the Sport being a little bit less sporty than the SI, I guess. Yeah. Again, there's no Goldilocks, but that's there. The color of the Type R is hella hot, and it is available on the Sport and the SI. So at least I know what color I will get, which I said I hate my gray car, and now I'm talking about buying a gray car.
It's a much more interesting gray car.
It's cooler.
It is. Yeah. So I also continued my fascination with the Kia Stinger GT. Not that I would ever spend that much money on any car at all because they're like $50,000, and it's really one pedal short of even being in the realm of possibilities. But I still love that car.
If it didn't say Kia on the front, if it said Acura, then you'd be like, oh, maybe we'll think about it a little more seriously, right? It's tough. Yeah. That's a different episode, though, I think.
Different episode, yeah. So the Stinger GT is yeah. No, I don't know. I will love it from afar, but I will never taste it.
Because you have to buy one from a Kia dealer. Nobody wants to go there.
No, even like 3 years from now, I probably won't because lack of pedal.
Yeah. I think it was a shame that Mercedes and BMW weren't there because I enjoy looking at what they have. I also thought it was a shame that the 2021 Jaguar F-Type was recently released. It's out everywhere, but they still had the old style 2020 there, not the new one, which is sad, even though they had the brandy new Defender, which isn't even going to get sold for a while. But the Defender was pretty sweet.
So if you're a regional representative for Jaguar and or Range Rover, get in touch with us on our social media.
Yeah, WTF. Bring out the good cars to the car show.
Or like a sedan more than just like they had one base model XE over in the corner, like by itself. It was bad.
Yeah, it was like almost in the other section.
Yeah.
Like it was in like whatever was across the street.
Yeah.
That was the thing about being spoiled in Atlanta, is because Mercedes North American headquarters are there. So even the slightest effort out of headquarters always resulted in a nice Mercedes selection.
Well, while we're talking about Jag and Defender, Land Rover, it was lovely seeing the Velar again. I know we talked about that earlier. I sat in it. I'm not going to get one. I like to pet it. I like to pretend that I am a yoga pant wearing, high ponytail, large sunglassed MILF that is dropping their two lovely yoga pant wearing, high ponytail, large sunglass wearing girls at lacrosse practice. I am not either of those. So it was lovely to look at, but I'm not going to have one. Also, I enjoyed sitting in the Miata. I got to see the cool automatic roof go up and down, which is an awesome idea. But then we also played with the
what do they call it? The RF.
RF.
Oh, yeah, it was
I'll
awesome.
be posting that video soon also.
Yes, watch that. We had a great time in the Miatas. So,
Chrissy, if you want to drive a Velar, next time you're in Atlanta, let me know. My brother has one.
Oh, well, I
Oh,
was just in Atlanta last week.
what
I'm
is
not going.
his kid's name? Dakota named.
My nephew's name is actually Asa, and he is scheduled to get that car when he starts driving in 2 years. And yes, the face you're making, Jeff, is completely appropriate.
So also I like the Miata. So we sat in the Miata. So Bill, can I borrow yours? That was because sitting in it made us maybe remember hooning in it, and it was awesome.
Yeah. Having no Goldilocks car, really, we should just have many cars.
Wait,
We
we
should
do.
all have a Miata. We should all have a
many
big
cars.
truck. We should all have something fast.
We're all pretty
And
close.
then we need
to
a
that.
daily driver. I know.
Yeah. I've got my long roof for life. Everybody, well, I'm gonna go. I say a Suburban counts as a long roof, so we've all got a long roof. We all
You don't
have
have one anymore.
I have a Volvo.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
Oh,
I
yes.
forgot about that.
I can't keep track of all the pieces of shit you got.
Yeah, I
laying
know,
around.
exactly. Neither can I, if I'm honest, either, and I would argue I have two fast things. I've got a very fast Honda and a very fast touring sedan. And then there's the
Two wheels,
car.
4 wheels. I understand.
So it's
Right.
speed. And he lives in the desert. You can ride a motorcycle a lot more than you can around here. So
Yeah, really. And you rode that bike. Tell me that bike wasn't awesome.
it was very nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, then we, with the exception of Chris and Chrissy, Jeff and I both have the car we're not allowed to touch because the wife has to rely on that one.
Not the same in either situation, but yes.
All right. So we'll go there because you guys got into the Philly Auto Show. It seemed like a lot of fun, and we're now following the Philly Auto Show. So it looks like they had a lot of parties, a lot of charity, a lot of fundraising. That seemed kind of nice.
That was all Friday night. The black tie tailgate
right.
for Children's Hospital. That's what they do there. So
That's excellent. What's some insights that you guys have either about the Philly Auto Show or just really about the current car market?
I'll start because Philly is my favorite city. But I think their car shows are slightly lame.
You know what we should do, Jeff?
I love and usually attend the New York Auto Show.
We should totally go to the New York Auto Show.
We should totally go to the New York Auto Show. Book it.
I'll make it happen.
Yeah, they had like a chunk of the floor for mattress sales. Like,
And so many ShamWows.
and well, yeah. Like at the New York Auto Show, there's like buildings and buildings and floors, and you could tell that they're like fighting each other for every square inch to where they have the ShamWows, but they're like in the other building, like way over there, and like they're kind of like fighting each other, like SEMA for floor space, and this is like, here's a giant place to check out some mattresses. Like I don't have 57 mattress stores in my town.
That's hilarious. I was at the Barrett Jackson thing that they had, not the Barrett Jackson, the Meekum auto auction here in Vegas, and there was an entire chunk of the floor space dedicated to jacuzzi sales.
nice.
Yeah. So anyway, that's my WTF. I'd with mattress sales at a car show.
Anything else? Yeah. Not
No,
the things
what
you
are
had
you?
in your notes listed there. Okay, great.
No.
Anyway,
If you read what it says, I'm adding that to when you talk.
okay. I think one thing I noticed this year is that so many places had benches, places to sit down with charging cords. They've realized you will get people into your area to look at your stuff if you have given them a place to sit and charge. So your humanoid who can go to the show for you in the future can sit in charge there just like you can. So that was new this year. We can talk about our logo headlight discussion. So this year, this is something I learned working in the insurance damage repair business for a little while this year, and my brief tour in that between other jobs, is that a lot of manufacturers are now putting trademarked content in their headlights so that aftermarket manufacturers cannot create exact replacements for those headlights. And when the cars are still pretty new and the insurance company is buying replacements, well, it has to be an exact match, really. And it doesn't have the logo on it, and that's not going to match left to right. And so therefore, you got to buy OEM until the car gets old enough, and then things change. So there was a lot of those that we saw. Once I pointed it out to you guys, we were seeing it everywhere.
Saw them everywhere.
Yeah.
Saw them everywhere. And they purposely put Explorer in the trademarked font so that the aftermarket companies couldn't. Well, I mean, if they built the same part, they would have a lawsuit for copyright infringement.
Yeah.
And they were all varying.
And
so some of them had it on the outside, some of them inside.
GM is going so far as to have core charges on headlamps now when you buy a new one because they want the old one back so that the aftermarket companies can't rebuild them because that's that other thing. When they can't make a new one, they do reconditioned by, gluing a new tab on it or taking the lens off and gluing a new lens on, things like that. So GM is charging core charges. Like even if you just send them like the pieces that were still left, that counts.
Wow. I didn't know that part.
Because I was wondering, we were at SEMA, and I'm wondering how long until Samir can absolutely duplicate the best of trademarked items.
The Guangjing Purple Light Company will do it shortly. That is not a joke. That is actually the name of one of them.
They don't care about the copyright infringement lawsuit.
No, not at all.
Nope. Don't care. All right.
Yeah, I thought they looked cool, though, by the way.
They did.
I kind of liked Explorer in my headlight.
Yeah, it's true.
Last thing I'm going to say
Easter egg type stuff.
The Hyundais, especially the Sonata, are getting uglier and uglier. And the new Sonata is so atrocious. There are so many awful design elements in this thing. He just didn't put the pen down. It has these chrome strips running from the headlights up the hood, all the way to like the belt molding on the for the top of the windows.
That wasn't. I thought that was like some aftermarket dealer installed reflect sticker.
Stuck.
Oh my god!
It's chrome and it's LED, so it lights up at night. These strips up the hood, and then it's got these diverging lines on the quarter panel that don't make any sense.
Strakes,
and this dumpy
like
butt
taillight
thing.
strakes.
Yeah, strakes on the taillights. It's a Sonata. Anyway,
I am the resident Korean car defender. That thing was ugly.
I just think it's funny about how much rampage he went on. He had this whole soliloquy before you even got there.
Because
it's so
bad. Like I can see the appeal of like the Stinger. Got it. I think the front end's ugly, but the rest of it looks nice. And supposedly it drives pretty well. The Genesis is really trying on a lot of their stuff. That was apparent when we were looking at them. That was really that they're making big strides there. But man, the rest of Hyundai lineups is terrible, and they have 17 SUVs that are all pretty much the same size. So whatever.
There's a guy in the park at work who's got a new Genesis, and sometimes we end up parking next to each other, and I look over and go, I know exactly where the inspiration for that came from. I'm driving it. But let's come back to Chrissy, because genuinely, Chrissy, we've been doing this new car dance now for rolling up on almost 12 months. Really, we wanted you into SEMA. We wanted you at the show because what's going on? What did you like out of that?
I don't get
trying to zero in on a car.
Well, you can do your other stuff first. And then,
Oh, please, yeah, no, throw your impressions of the car show and the new car market.
Yeah, so I really loved being there when nobody else was there. Chris's empty space. I felt like we could really look around without any pressure. We didn't have to move very quickly. We could, and the sales reps weren't looking to help me buy one or get me in a car or anything like that. People were just like, oh, do you want me to, Miata, the Mazda, they were like, do you want us to help, show you this? Oh, that would be great. And then they're like, oh, wait, let me get out of your video. I'm taking, you're making video. So, it was fantastic. I really enjoyed that. Yes. Chris.
or they were practicing their speeches, like the
Yes.
the models
Yeah.
and spokespeople were practicing their speeches.
Yeah,
Like
they had,
reading it off their phone or iPad.
Mhm, and they were holding
look,
it, and
The new 2020 blah blah blah.
yeah, and she was
Look,
like practicing
the
looking
new
up. And
2020 blah blah blah.
pretty much, I gave them thumbs up. I don't know if she appreciated it, but I was like, "You can do it!" So because I was just trying to be helpful. I don't know anything about other car shows. I have nothing to compare to other than I can't say New York is better or Atlanta is better because I have not been to them. So it was fine. I had a good time.
All right. So, yeah, well, this is the deal, folks. A lot of this, Jeff and Chrissy and Chris did a great job. They've done a lot of prep work and a lot of lead-in time, and they've actually put a lot of this on our YouTube channel, which this is one of our focuses for this year. So we're going to be doing that, and we're not going to post on a regular basis, and we're not going to open any of our videos with, hey, guys, but check all this out on our
So
YouTube channel.
opening the next video with hey.
Oh, we should have. Why didn't we?
So,
Hey guys.
Chris and Jeff talk about the new Corvette. There's that awesome supercar that debuted. Chrissy and Jeff had an extended discussion on the Civic Type R. What it comes down to is you, by listening to the show, have enabled us to do this because we send, hey, this is our market. These are our people. These are our fans. And we're getting these press passes. And genuinely, we're trying to get into the New York Auto Show. So we're going to try and do all this. So thank you for doing that. Check all this stuff out on our YouTube channel. It's really kind of cool stuff. But I am looking at probably one of the most amazing things I've seen typed in our show notes in so long. Chrissy, please.
Hold on. What, Jeff?
No, I was going to say, Mental said we're not going to post stuff regularly. I was going to put in the show notes that I'm posting regularly for the next 4 or 5 days.
I say like
two
we're
a
not going
day.
to have new videos every Tuesday.
No.
Going to work aggressively on our YouTube channel, but we're not to the point where we have something on a scheduled basis.
Yeah, I'm doing
So
2 a
check
day.
it out.
One of them is directly on our social media. One of them is directly to YouTube, and then I will post the link to social media because I'm testing which gets more interaction. So I just wanted to put a little out there that I'm going to start doing the truck content after the show. So we've been doing all the car content before the show, starting what day is today? Wednesday? Starting Thursday, we'll start all the truck content. So look for the truck content between now and over the weekend.
America.
Bam! Done.
Except he didn't drop
Okay.
a mic; he dropped hand
No,
lotion.
hand lotion.
Was it toothpaste, hand lotion? I
Right, he
didn't know
kept
what that
swinging it
was.
around. So I was like, "What are you trying to get at here?"
Actually, sunscreen.
Oh,
That's
okay.
And
enough.
the clippy.
Chef is so white, he needs sunscreen in winter in
In
New
winter.
Jersey.
At night,
No.
inside.
It's the giveaway from one of my campus offices in
Okay.
Atlantic
All right,
City.
let's
Okay.
move on. I don't care. I don't care. Okay, it's time to
Tell us
talk.
the new car!
It's the new car, and we're sitting here. We've decided which car we're gonna get, and we said, Chris is like, "You're gonna tell the boys," and I said, "No, we're gonna wait till the show because then we are all the suspense." I know. Okay, so
If you guys could actually watch right now, Jeff and I are very tense.
oh goodness gracious. So we, like I said, we were between Mercedes wagons. So we had a few Mercedes wagons that we were looking at, and then the XF Sport Brake. So all used. So we were not looking for brand new because we'd like somebody else to take.
It's pre-owned. When it's a Mercedes or a Jag, it's pre-owned.
Dun-dun-dun-dun! And it is...
I literally dropped my mic because you guys interrupt so much. You can check off multiple free spaces because it's somebody interrupts Chrissy's show is what it is. Fine. So trying to figure out which Mercedes wagon and or Jag we would like. Okay, so the Mercedes wagons were an older 350, a 400. We were considering the E63, which is the Mercedes that we had before. The Mercedes that we had before that would cost us a lot of money for the amount of travel and fixing it and all that stuff. It'd be just like the car that we just got rid of. So
it's the old body style E63, not the new one. The new ones are still $90,000, which is lovely, but no.
Well, that's why I said all of these were going to be used. So we were not, or pre-owned, excuse me, because we did not want to take the depreciation, and we just didn't want a new car. There's plenty of all of them out there used that were sufficient. They're in a reasonable price range, low-ish mileages, and look pretty brand new to us. Anyway, so after the car show, we decided to go. Well, at the car show, got in the Jag. And the Jag, this is just kind of the smaller. It's not super comparable, but there are some getting in it. I just decided to sit in it, and we were kind of looking around and reminding myself of what the interior looked like. And sidebar, there is a great article that is very lengthy that discusses that compares the Mercedes wagon. Is it the 350 or the 400?
The one that I had up.
It compared the three, and everything said the Jag is great, except the interior is just not doing it.
It was a car and driver comparo of the XF Sport Brake, the E400, and the Volvo V90. So
yes. So that was the one that said that Jag loved a lot of the parts of it, but the interior is just not exactly what we think it should be for a very expensive car. So reminding myself of that, kind of remembering what the interior looked like. Okay, great. That was at the car show. So later that day, Chris says, well, we could drive to Harrisburg and go check out an E400. And we had looked at an E400 in a window when we were driving. We went to test drive an E350, and we said, oh, there's a nice car over there. And the person who was buying it was getting the walk around of the interior of the car of where everything is, because they had just bought it. So we were kind of drooling on the windows, looking in, saying, "Oh, that's so pretty." So we, what?
So mental to put his hand down.
So we said, we can't really.
I have a pertinent question.
No questions.
What?
Hang on. So everything just stopped. Mental screwed it up. It's all a big mess right now.
Just I can't ask.
So we're going to have to wait till Chrissy comes back. And everyone comes back after all this goes through. And so...
I apologize.
It's all right.
My question is, what is the actual engine in the E400? Because we had this discussion.
The E400 is a 3-liter twin-turbo V6. About 330 horsepower, 360 torque. So we appear to be back live now after that brief hiatus. So, Chrissy, you could pick back up right after. Don't apologize.
Yeah, so, okay. Well, this is also, I'm apologizing that this is a long story, but we have not really told this story from when we were looking at the cars previously. So we were looking, where was I?
We drove to Harrisburg to drive the E400.
Got it. Yes,
the closest
correct.
one
so
to
we
us.
decided. Yes, and it was not exactly what we were going to buy. It's actually more expensive than most of them on the market, but it would give us the chance to be able to look at it and actually compare the cars that we are actually going to consider buying. So
Chrissy's gone again.
Dealership
so
drove the car.
Chrissy, start up. You blacked out for a little while, so go back, start again. We drove to the dealership. Okay.
I apologize.
Stop apologizing and tell the story. It's fine.
So we get to the dealership. We drove the car. It was lovely. It was fantastic. It's a beautiful, wonderful place to be in. The interior is gorgeous. There's wood inlay. There's a little pen light that kind of rope light that goes through it. It has 64 different colors. It's beautiful. And it was also, we drove the sport version. So there's a luxury version and a sport version. And the sport version was great. It was enough. When Chris drove it, he got it on not two wheels. He spun it for a little bit, and I tried to put a little bit of try to drive it a little bit harder than most people would drive a Mercedes, just to try to see what the suspension would do.
Not that Chris couldn't put it on two wheels.
Right.
Now the car would probably say 9,
but it had multiple suspension. So it had multiple suspension options. So it was in like Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus. Is there one in between there?
That was it. And there's individual too, but we didn't go through setting up individual.
Oh, sure. Which you can actually set up if you want your the trans to do a certain way. If you want the suspension a certain way, we could just call it like CNC, and it just be like whatever you want. It had a huge trunk, big windows to see out, and so I said yes to the. Oh, you can't see my face, and you don't. Do you know what I'm talking about? The No, it's like the say yes to the dress. You know, like.
Oh yeah. Sorry.
Whatever.
I watch that show.
And you know what I'm talking about, though. So
you're lying. You're to the dress.
Right. Okay. So yeah. So that's what we're looking for. It's going to be an E400. Chris, do you have anything to add that I've missed?
Yeah. The engine response from the twin turbo V6 was excellent. There was very little, if any, turbo lag. It was only right off the start and had great torque. Had more engine noise than I was expecting from the exhaust when you really got on it, which was good. You can actually hear real engine noise for once. The suspension was responsive enough. I mean, it still has a little bit of body roll. It's not as tight as the AMG, but it totally worked. The flappy paddles on the 9-speed automatic were quite good, actually. Like, it banged the shifts off quickly. And that was just in the sport mode. So, yeah, and it has more gears than you need. No, the car was just super, super nice. Like, I think the way we described it when we were talking about it afterwards, it said, there's nothing that I don't like about it. Like sure, there's a couple things you might change. Like, I'd like it to have a little sportier suspension. I'd like to have a little more power, but it's plenty in every other way, and everything else is great. So, Jeff.
Didn't I in October send you a picture of an E400 wagon when I was at that Mercedes dealership and said, you guys should totally get one of these?
Yeah, you're right. We were looking at it.
It helped
drive. Find one to drive it.
Well, yeah, the one that I was looking at was extremely expensive. So
that's why you buy them used and save $30,000.
No, it was a used one, but it was like 1 year old with everything. It was Yeah.
Oh, and the one we're gonna get has everything.
The interior in it was gorgeous.
It is. That's what makes it awesome. That it was that it was sporty enough, but the interior was just awesome. It was really great. Yes, Mental. Go ahead now.
Is one of the interior colors frozen
No, but
nice?
Butterscotch.
No,
butterscotch.
No, the interior colors are pretty tough because everything comes with macchiato. It's beige. It's
no.
Really,
You mentioned
really
you said there were the interior lighting. It has LED lighting.
Oh,
I'm
sure it does.
Sure, there's frozen berry in there.
And we're gonna rock frozen berry in my car. Absolutely. Oh, that's very exciting. No, the interior colors are difficult because they all come in this very light beige leather, but it's much lighter than ours than the SLC. And
really?
I'm just afraid it's just not going to last. It's going to look dirty. I'm a very clean person in my car, very clean, but I think it's going to show just the wear and kind of normal dirt. So we're looking at brown and black. Brown
because the interior on the current CLS is still spotless.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Because that's a medium kind of peanut butter tan. It's okay, and I have cleaned it very well and treated the leather with Leatherique and done all those things.
Yes, you did.
Which we will do to the new one.
Right, but if we start off with brown, like nut brown or black, it's going to be a much better place.
It's going to be better, yeah.
For a 250,000 mile car, it's going to work.
I mean, we're not committing to that yet because I don't know if I can.
We have that option in mind. It's a possibility. Cool.
All right.
A mental curiously. Do you remember what position you came in that autocrossing class? I mean, was it third? Did you come in third in something recently?
Somebody's looking for a bingo.
I'm just curious.
I actually came in second in class. I am sorry,
Okay.
but if it helps, it was a 2-car class. So
Okay.
You couldn't even be third.
no, I'm serious. I couldn't be third even if I wanted to, and it was against the Saturn Sky red line. You know, the high end Saturn version of the Pontiac Solstice. And the guy done a lot of work to it, and he could drive. So yeah, I got my head handed to me by like 8 seconds too.
Oh well, I tried. That's all.
Oh.
I know you absolutely did try, but we're not done yet, because if I'm not mistaken, it is time for Hella Sweet But Terrible on the Spot, and I might be third in that.
Yeah, maybe. We'll still see. All right, so this is a Hella Sweet But Terrible with an on-the-spot answer. You don't know the question ahead of time. It's going to be a quick
excited.
thought, quick answer. Hella Sweet But Terrible, active cruise control in a daily driver.
Oh, this is a big discussion. I'll
Jeff.
go because I have no frame of reference. I very rarely use cruise control because I just don't care. Zero opinion one way or the other because I would never use it.
Thanks for your help in that matter, Jeff. That's great. That's very good advice. Mental, how about you?
But terrible. Don't pay for it. What do you need it for?
Go ahead.
Mental.
You go.
No, Mental wants to go. Okay, Chrissy. I guess
He wants me to go second.
Yeah, so he comes in third.
Funny. I'm indifferent. I also don't use cruise control. I think the idea is because I drive in traffic, it seems like a nice idea. But I'm indifferent. Until I would have said I was indifferent in like Apple CarPlay until I got it, and then I'm like, oh my God, where's my life been without it? So that's why I'm thinking, but still indifferent because, meh.
All right, Mental. You're in third.
So mental comes in third. It is like so many inventions that you think are superfluous until you get them. Heated seats used to be ridiculous until the first time I ever sat in heated seats, and then air conditioned seats until I sat in air conditioned seats. A number of years ago, I was running a race up in Ohio with some automotive journalists, and they had a new Volvo with the adaptive cruise control. And also, like so many of these convenience features, I don't want them on my daily driver. I want them on my friggin' RV. I want adaptive cruise control on my RV.
Oh, I want them on his RV too.
Yeah.
And again, adaptive cruise control, kind of once you figure it out, because I was trying to accelerate behind people and it was fighting me because there was a car in front of me, and I've had a rented Volkswagen Passat with the same setting. But once you spend about 10 minutes getting familiar with it, it is effing brilliant. In day-to-day traffic, you won't use it, but if you're the person that kind of tries to beat the building rush hour, so you leave a little bit early for work or you leave a little late from work and there's just residual stuff, it is the most wonderful thing since Apple CarPlay. Adaptive cruise control is phenomenal.
Oh, okay.
The one in the Mercedes will do stop and go traffic for you. Like if you set it and it's stop and go, it'll stop in traffic and then go again and stop and go. So
I thought this one didn't have the radar guided cruise control.
It depends on
All
which
right.
package you get. If you get premium,
I changed my mind. Sign me up.
Do I have that?
No, you don't.
No, you don't have
Oh,
it.
the one
yeah,
we're
that's what
looking
No,
at.
my
does.
new car has it.
The
I'm
new
glad you said that, because tomorrow would have been a conversation of how mental wrecked the 6.3.
You'd be like, why is it not going?
one. Yeah.
What is
November
this?
3rd, I found my text message. I sent you a picture of a white E450 and it
Yep.
said, you people should go buy this.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's pretty much that.
But
30
so
horsepower difference.
I've driven several cars with adaptive cruise control, and it is absolutely wonderful.
I don't want to go on a tangent, but I watched somebody summon their Tesla last weekend, and I want that.
This does that too. Like it'll park itself and then
Sign
it'll
me.
like come out
Yeah.
of the parking
Sign
spot
me
too.
up. I take it all back.
Hyundai's have
Hella sweet.
smart. They have
Done.
smart park. It's got smart park. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
This is important. We should talk about the next show.
Okay. Let's talk about the next show. So
Actually,
we're going.
know what we're doing for the next show?
What?
I
This is
called
news to
it.
me.
No, we discussed it actually, but we are going to talk about next week. We're going back to our Going Faster segment, and this is all about the driver. So, how are you getting yourself back in shape for race season? Or did you just race this weekend and then you realize that you may be not ready for this race season to start? So we're going to lay it all out, talk and make sure that you have plenty of time to get yourself ready before you get in the race car.
You know, it's easier to take weight off the driver than to take it off the car. Well, cheaper. I'll say that. It's a lot cheaper.
Yeah, there it is. Not
cheaper,
easier.
not easier.
It is absolutely cheaper. Totally not easier. And this is key because I'm racing in a kart race on the 23rd of this month, and I'm in the 180-pound plus weight class. And right now I am way over that minimum, so that needs to change.
Well, tune in next week, where I will also say thank you for downloading us. We hope you enjoyed this week's edition of Everyone Racers. We also hope you'll join us in the world of driving, racing, and losing 10 pounds, because everyone might be a fat ass, even you. If you enjoyed this podcast, subscribe, even though I just insulted you. It's totally free. Then go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. Even if you hate us because I called you a lard ass, give us 5 stars and tell us why.
It's a luxury mammal, Jeff. Luxury mammal.
If you have any questions or show ideas, drop a comment on our Facebook page, Everyone Racers, or email us at everyone.racers@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram or Twitter at everyone.racers. Thanks again, and until next week, keep the shiny side up. Unless there is no shiny side, then just keep the wheels down.